Most people assume that when planes are full and tickets are expensive, airlines must be making a fortune. But the truth is far more complicated. Around the world, airlines are carrying more passengers than ever, flying more routes than ever, and yet some of them are seeing their profits fall dramatically. One airline that shocked the industry is TAP Air Portugal, whose profit dropped by more than 90% in a single year, even while travel demand surged. This raises a very uncomfortable question. How can an airline carry more passengers, sell more tickets, and still end up making less money? To understand this puzzle, we need to look deeper into how the airline business actually works. On the surface, aviation looks like a simple business. Airlines sell seats on aircraft, passengers pay money to fly, more passengers should mean more revenue should mean more profit. But the reality is that aviation is one of the most complex and fragile businesses in the world. An airline's financial success depends on dozens of moving parts, many of which are completely outside the airline's control: fuel prices, aircraft maintenance, leasing costs, airport charges, geopolitical tensions, currency fluctuations, government regulations, labor contracts, and even weather events can all change the outcome of an airline's financial year. Let's start with the example of TAP Air Portugal. The airline was flying full planes and demand for travel was strong. Tourism to Portugal was growing, business travel was recovering, and passenger numbers were up. By all logic, the airline should have enjoyed rising profits, but the numbers told a different story. Profits collapsed by more than 90% compared to the previous year. That kind of decline sounds like a disaster, but it wasn't caused by a collapse in demand. It was caused by a series of costly one-time events and hidden financial pressures that quietly ate away at the airline's bottom line. One of the biggest factors was cost inflation. While ticket sales were rising, so were the costs of operating flights. Fuel prices surged, and fuel is one of the largest expenses for any airline. A single long-haul flight can burn tens of thousands of dollars in fuel. When global fuel prices rise even slightly, airlines feel the impact immediately. Even airlines that try to hedge fuel costs cannot fully escape the financial pressure. Another major cost comes from aircraft ownership and leasing. Many airlines do not own all of their aircraft outright. They lease them from large aircraft leasing companies. Lease payments must be made regardless of whether the airline makes money or not. If an airline operates a large fleet, those monthly lease payments can become enormous. For TAP Air Portugal and many other carriers, fleet renewal and aircraft leasing costs have become major financial burdens. Maintenance is another hidden drain. Modern aircraft are incredibly complex machines. Every engine inspection, every part replacement, every mandatory safety check costs money. When aircraft get older or when maintenance schedules cluster close together, costs can spike suddenly. An airline can have a profitable summer season, but see those profits disappear in winter when maintenance bills arrive. Staff costs also play a major role. Pilots, cabin crew, engineers, and ground staff are highly skilled professionals. Their salaries, training, pensions, and contracts form a large portion of an airline's expenses. When airlines negotiate new contracts or face labor disputes, wage increases can dramatically impact financial performance. Even a small percentage increase in staff costs can wipe out millions in profit. Now let's talk about airports. Airlines pay landing fees, parking fees, gate fees, and passenger service charges. Busy airports often charge more, especially at major international hubs. Airlines also pay for ground handling, catering, baggage handling, security, and air traffic control services. None of these are optional. And when airports raise their fees, airlines have little choice but to absorb the cost or raise ticket prices, which risks losing passengers. Another major challenge comes from currency fluctuations. Airlines often earn revenue in one currency but pay many of their costs in another. For example, fuel is priced globally in US dollars. Aircraft leases are often paid in dollars. If an airline earns money in a weaker local currency but pays major expenses in dollars, currency swings can severely affect profitability. A strong dollar can make costs explode overnight. Debt is another silent pressure. Many airlines carry significant debt from buying aircraft, surviving financial crises, or expanding their fleets. Debt must be serviced regardless of how well the airline is performing. Interest payments alone can eat into profits, especially when global interest rates rise. In recent years, higher interest rates have made debt more expensive, putting additional strain on airlines already recovering from global disruptions. Speaking of global disruptions, the airline industry has been hit by several major crises in recent years. Global health emergencies, geopolitical tensions, and airspace restrictions have all affected flight routes and costs. When certain airspaces close, airlines must reroute flights, burning more fuel and increasing flight times. Longer routes mean higher costs and lower profitability, even if the flights are full. Even strong demand can hide deeper problems. When people rush to travel after restrictions lift, airlines can fill planes quickly. But high demand does not always mean high profit. Airlines may have to offer discounted tickets to stay competitive. They may face staff shortages that require expensive overtime or temporary hires. Airports may be congested, causing delays and operational inefficiencies that increase costs. There is also intense competition. Airlines compete fiercely for passengers. Low-cost carriers put pressure on traditional airlines by offering cheaper fares. To compete, full-service airlines sometimes reduce prices, cutting into their margins. Even premium carriers feel the pressure to keep fares attractive, especially on popular routes. Then there are strategic decisions. Airlines often invest in new routes, new aircraft, and improved services to stay competitive. These investments are expensive. While they may pay off in the long run, they can reduce short-term profits. Expanding into new markets can also involve risks, including low initial demand and high startup costs. Regulation is another factor. Airlines must comply with strict safety, environmental, and operational regulations. Meeting these standards requires investment in new technology, training, and equipment. Environmental regulations are becoming stricter, pushing airlines to invest in more fuel-efficient aircraft or sustainable aviation fuel, both of which can be costly. The result is a business model where profits can disappear quickly, even when planes are full. Airlines operate on razor-thin margins. A small change in costs or revenue can have a massive impact on profits. This is why an airline can report strong passenger numbers but still see its profit drop dramatically. TAP Air Portugal is just one example, but it reflects a broader reality across the aviation industry. Many airlines experience cycles of profit and loss, often driven by factors beyond their control. The industry is constantly balancing between growth and survival, expansion and risk, revenue and cost. So the next time you board a flight and see a full cabin, remember that full seats do not always mean full bank accounts for the airline. Behind every ticket sold is a complex web of costs, risks, and financial pressures. And sometimes, even when demand is strong and the planes are packed, the numbers at the end of the year can still tell a very different story.